now is the time. We'll be starting the race once more, and this time it'll be Yuri Toman from pole position. Of course, it's Kevin Siggy alongside as we get ready for semi-final 2. We've already seen plenty of drama. What more will we see? A poor start there from Moritz Lerner, who's going to drop back even behind Kaiki Oliveira as they head their way down towards the first corner. A decent translation on the start from Eamon Murphy, pushed out wide. That'll be Moritz Lerner going out there, and maybe potentially being joined by Thibaut Kazamon, trying to see his teammate Yuri Kasdorp coming through in all of this as well as they funnel their way down to the second corner. Out to the Parabolica is a good start from Toman, who's going to continue to hold the race lead, but it's drama in the background for fourth.
Yeah, there was a brief free wide moment there with Jack Keighley, who's come out on top in that one. And both the Porsche Coanda boys are back here, of course. Josh Rogers with Mac Backham with work to do. Now there's going to be drama on the way towards the hairpin. We're almost free wide. Yuri Kasdorp and Moritz Lerner sandwiching. And Thibaut Kazamon as it's side by side for the lead at the moment. Yuri Toman trying to hang on to that pole position and the race lead for the moment. But Kevin Siggy is challenging him into turn 8.
Oh my goodness, that is so brave to go around the outside through the Fast King. Leaving it there was Kevin Siggy trying to get his way up into the race lead, but it is Yuri Toman leading from Kevin Siggy and then Eamon Murphy, and then literally everyone behind. Moritz Lerner, Kaiki Oliveira and Thibaut Kazamon still hold on to those top 6 positions, but look at how crazy all this is. We focus our attention on Yuri Kasdorp, who's got Jack Keighley right up his rear end. He's trying to get his way inside the top 6 and looking for a final. We know Kasdorp's got the speed. He's now a big fan of Ewan O'Leary, apparently. And that's apparently working his way up the order and keeping him right in contention.
I'm sure those two events are not related, but I think he's, I predicted him to go through from the knockouts, and I was right, and he appreciated it, so we'll take that. I think he's got a chance here as well, by the way, but so has everyone else. It's a really close semi-final, not like the opening one where we saw Jamie Fluke get clear of Isaac Price quite early and then just bring it home. Thibaut Kazamon's not going to have that luxury in 6th place. You wouldn't imagine even Moritz Lerner and Kaiki Oliveira are going to have something to worry about here.
Yeah, look at in the background as well, Mac Backham, who finds himself down in 11th position. His teammate over the rear end of him. This is looking dire for Porsche Coanda, and I get the feeling that we'll not be seeing those two progressing their way through any further in this competition. It's a bit of a tall order to work their way forward. Oh my goodness, Thibaut Kazamon has just absolutely squeezed you the road, and I'm not going to lie, I think Race Control's going to take a big old look at that.
Well, in the end, the positions didn't change, but that was a questionable moment for the both of them. It could have easily sent them both in the wall. Speaking of which, Yuri Toman and Kevin Siggy are doing their best to manage that right now. Side by side through the really fast turn 7, of course. Now Siggy will come back on the exit of turn 8 for another look at the outside. This is through turn 10 on this occasion. He can't find his way around there, but he's still got his nose alongside. Yuri Toman will just about slot into line, but what a fight we're seeing for the win here. It's bringing everyone into play.
Yeah, the patience that we saw in semi-final 1 is not being seen in semi-final 2, and I kind of get the feeling, I've raced Kevin Siggy a lot over the last 10 years, and I know for a fact he is not a driver that's going to sit in 2nd position and think, oh, I'll take these points. Yeah, I'll take these points. I'll take the position to move through into... No, he wants the victory. He wants to take the point. He wants to remind everyone that Kevin Siggy is one of the drivers to beat as he tries to chase down. You know, every single point for him matters, of course, way more than it does for certain others that have already scored a handful of points. So these are the times when you can move yourself into contention. Of course, the championship leader at the moment, here he is, 9th place. So there's big, although I will say he's up to 9th place. Yeah, there is potential for Sebastian Jobe to still work his way further on in this competition. I'm less so sure about for Josh Rogers, who still finds himself in 12th.
Yeah, and Mac Backham might give that place over, but even so, Josh Rogers is struggling here, I'm afraid, and can't find his way through the order like Sebastian Jobe can. Jack Keighley is going to be next up to be forced to defend, but it's not enough. Sebastian Jobe goes down the inside, and he's into 8th place now. This is fantastic from the 2 round winners we've had so far, but Sebastian Jobe is going to be under threat from Jack Keighley again now through turn 7. Side by side they go, and he does have the place with Jeffrey Rebo. Oh no, there's contact. Sebastian Jobe's recovery is over. He's in the wall and down to 12th.
I think it definitely wasn't intentional, but I think that was almost surely, at least from that angle, 100% on Keighley's shoulders. I don't know for sure though, so again, not going to judge it until we see it from other angles, but it's just my gut feeling would lean a little bit onto those shoulders. Yeah, that's a rough one. Obviously, yeah, there could have just been a little bit of a weird bit with the contact. Who knows? It just looks very awkward. Sebastian Jobe thought he had it done, and I will say his move at the hairpin was absolutely fantastic. It was bold, it was brave, it was brilliant, though. But unfortunately for Sebastian Job, his chances of moving through have completely blown up in his face. And so Joshua Rogers will now find himself in 9th position. And he's now the one that's close to potentially moving his way through. But that gap between Rietveld and Kasdorp, it's a second now.
By the way, I think Keithley agrees with you, Lewis, because I think he gave the place over to Job then. I don't think he got involved in it himself. Did he spin around as well? I'm not sure. I think he just slowed down to give that one up, but not entirely sure, to be honest, until we've got all the evidence. Josh Rogers is going to need some late resurgence here, I'm afraid. I say that, it's only lap 4, considering the drama we've had so far. Rogers now on the back of Jeffrey Rietveld, 2 drivers you wouldn't expect to see in the bottom half of this field, but they are. Rietveld defends from Rogers, and quite forcefully as well, but this is only for 8th. The 6th place, the magic 6th place, is quite a long way away from them at the moment.
Yeah, Rietveld could actually do a good job here of playing a bit of a team game. Yes, sure, Rietveld will want to progress himself, but if he defends from Rogers as hard as he can, he's going to delay Rogers and may stop Rogers from going through into the final, and that'll be big for his team. Bit of a squeeze there as Rietveld leaves the Mercedes arena section straight around the outside from Joshua Rogers. He's got to do the outside here, got to do the outside at Mobil 1. Look at how calm Joshua Rogers is, though, in the left side of your screen, straight around the outside of Mobil 1. Could that be move of the day? Oh, I think it's up there for it. That is brilliant. Perfect racing between the pair of them. Space given, absolutely excellent, and it's still not done as we leave the Sachs curve.
That was special from Joshua Rogers around the outside of the Mobil 1 curve. The fastest corner on this circuit, or one of them anyway. It's a wonderful move, and Rogers is up to 8th place. He's still got work to do here, which is the annoying thing for him, but he can be pleased with that overtake. It's at least a couple of points to his name, and Jeffrey Rietveld's going to have to pick himself up from this, because there's another Porsche Coanda driver right behind him in the form of Mike Backham, although these guys are still far away from that battle for 6th. Maybe Rietveld won't be looking over his shoulder. He is still fairly close to Rogers as they make their way out of 2 and 3 and onto the back straight.
Yeah, let's see if it's more about, like I say, the gap between Rogers and between Kasdorp right now. It currently sits at 1.4 seconds. Take a screenshot of that and let's lock that one into the memory bank. Let's see if Jeffrey Rieveld's going to go for a move straight away. He's going to look down the inside. He's not going to commit to a move though. To be fair, that was fairly trusting of Rogers to think Rieveld's going to look, but he's not going to go for it and just committed to the racing line. Of course, again, the racing line's going to be the fastest one. If you're defending, you're losing even more time to that grouping up ahead. Maybe that's what Rietveld was trying to make Rogers do, but at the moment, like I said, I mean, if I were to look at this now and be like, right, over a 5-lap stint, do I think Josh Rogers could close a 2.5 seconds down to Yuri Kasdorp? And generally, I would actually say, yeah, potentially. But realistically, at this point, I'm not so sure. I just don't believe so. I think Rogers would have had to have taken quite a bit out of his tyres. They might be overpressured and overheating at the moment, and that is a big gap to make up to a driver who not only has clear speed around the Hockenheimring, but also a bit of slipstream as well, which will just help him all the way around the Parabolica.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult. Let's have a look at the incident again of Sebastian Job. Yeah, I think you're right in your initial observation there that Keithley is possibly at fault for that one. And yeah, this is the angle that we want to look at. Yeah, so he's trying to find a space down the outside there, couldn't quite, and actually did get spun around himself. I think Jeffrey Rietveld was an innocent party in that one, really. But yeah, unfortunately, Keithley might land himself in trouble for that, even though it actually put him down to last himself.
Yeah, I mean, so there will be an argument which could be levied towards Sebastian Job that he was moving in the braking zone or whatever, but that for me actually doesn't. Frequently, I'd be like, yeah, of course he was moving in the braking zone, but in that corner, no, because your braking zone it's kind of diagonal into it, because you come through the fast kink and you're kind of on the brakes diagonally across, and that's the line you have to expect to take. Keith looked like he was a bit too late on his brakes and wasn't prepared for that to happen. Sebastian Job had the move done for me. That is on Keithley's shoulders. But again, race control may see it differently. They may see it exactly the same. And to be perfectly honest, I think Sebastian Job at that point doesn't really care anymore, because well, there's nothing that's going to change that's going to affect that in a positive way for him, or even in a further negative way for Jack Keithley. It's kind of like, it's one of those things. It's tough now. It's happened. It is what it is. And
yeah, as I say, even a penalty for Keithley is not going to change Job's situation at this stage, which is really what I would describe as miracle needing, if that's a phrase, because he's down 11th and a long way away from this position, which is where Timo Kazemon finds himself in the top half. Yuri Kasdorp is not quite as threatening on the back of Kazemon as I was expecting at this stage in the race. I've got to say, 6 laps done now, and he's not quite looking like he's going to make a move anytime soon, and he does need to.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's hard to race around here. And one thing that, yeah, if you were listening to the build-up when we were in the countdown, there was a little bit of a clip from Kevin Ellis Jr. and he was saying about his race win in the knockouts yesterday. Of course, he's already out of the competition, but his race win yesterday, where he was basically describing it as how he was going to play it was he kept half a second of a gap. He was always making sure there was half a second of a gap. That was the magic number. And look at all the gaps on the left-hand side. Half a second between Yuri Toman and Kevin Siggy. Half a second between Eamon Murphy and Moritz Lerner. Half a second between Kaki Oliveira and Timo Kazbon. And then half a second back to Yuri Kazbon. That's kind of like the magic number you want to keep around if you're going to defend the position without having to look in the mirrors. And that's exactly what they're doing. It just means that if everyone's kind of doing that, it's actually very hard to break any further into it. You might go, well, surely why wouldn't you pull out any further of a gap? Well, to do so, you would have to take risk to do so, and sometimes that's just not worth it when you know half a second is safe.
Yep, and the points at the moment are not quite worth it either. Maybe for the final we're going to see something a little bit more extravagant from someone, but for now, everyone's staying where they are inside the top six. And a great drive, by the way, from Kaki Oliveira, who I really want to highlight a little bit here. He's in 5th place for Furia, the only Furia representative in the semi-finals. He looks like he's going to take them all the way to the final. And Eamon Murphy is impressing me right now as well, I've got to say, in 3rd place. Another good qualifying session from him in what's proved to be a bit of a surprise. Certainly for me, I didn't think he'd do quite as well in this round, but he's really impressing, and he's not only just making it into the final, he's comfortably making it as things stand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Eamon Murphy's got a lot of fans. Clearly, that's not his only fan, because Ewan O'Leary is now a fan of Eamon Murphy. So am I. I've always got to love a bit of Eamon Murphy. But at the moment, he is keeping cool in the race. A second off of Kevin Siggy, which would be a little bit of a disappointment, but surely he'll be inside the finals, and maybe he'll be competing in that. There has been a mistake from Thibaut Kazabon, though, because Yuri Kazdorp has found his way inside that top 6.
Well, what on earth went on there? It's a mistake from Kazabon. Kazdorp is there, and now Josh Rogers is there all over again as well. Jeffrey Rittenberg wasn't able to hold on to the pace, by the way, for Team Redline, unfortunately, but Kazabon now with work to do. Kazdorp's going to be on the defensive, and this is going to be a breathless last 2 laps.
Yuri Kazdorp, to my knowledge, has only made the final twice. It was actually in the final stages of last season, including the final round of last season, of the spring season, which actually was here. Ended up 10th position in the final in that. So this could be very impressive for Yuri Kazdorp to get into his first final of the season. Obviously, just showing that basically everyone is capable of doing it. Yeah, you get drivers that struggle all the way through the spring season and then suddenly find themselves popping up into the finals. Maybe struggling a little bit to the start of this. We saw Yuri Kazdorp being absolutely fantastic, particularly in the drivers' competition at Gamers 8, because there was a lot of struggles on the team side, or one side. I think it was the struggles on the team side, but he actually was pretty good in the driver's side of it, getting through into the Friday, if memory serves. But again, I am an idiot, so don't trust anything I say.
Are you trying to be friends with him as well? Sounds like it.
Are you saying that I'm not friends with Yuri Kazdorp? I've known him for a long time.
I know, you're more friends than I am. Anyway, he's 6th for now, and for whatever reason, Kazabon, after that mistake, has fallen apart a little bit here. He's now not only holding that half a second margin you were talking about earlier, but now has dropped back to 6/10, and it's going to have to be a very special penultimate lap for him to even get close enough.
Do you know what I think it is? Tyres. I kind of thought this yesterday. There was a couple of drivers that I was looking at yesterday in the knockouts, particularly in knockout 4, because Kazabon started out the race quite strong and then kind of dropped back into the clutch behind. And I did say, I think it was with Kazabon anyway. I did say that I was a little concerned with a couple of the drivers' tyres, and I think that's what we're seeing here. It's not, again, it's not really like where as a percentage. It's more about, how they are in temperature-wise, whether they're thermally degrading, and the fact that they're now, the hotter they get, the more pressured they get, which means the hotter they get, which means the higher the pressure goes, etc., etc., etc. It's a very vicious cycle, and I think that could be where Kazabon is. He might have been able to settle it down and go for a bit of second wind in this, but it's not looking so great.
He's a little bit far away at the moment. Casabon became, by the way, the 27th driver in ESL R1 history to win a race yesterday by taking this knockout round, but at the moment only one knockout round winner is going to be taking a place in the final as well. Casabon and Rogers both got into this semi-final by winning their knockout heats yesterday, but they're not there at the moment, and Kevin Lewis Jr. didn't make it in semi-final one either, so it's not looking good for the knockout round winners at all. A bit of a hand up of frustration from Casabon there as he made his way out of turn one. Not sure what it was about, but he's not close enough here against Kastrup, I wouldn't imagine.
I think that's what it was about. He's huffing and puffing because he wasn't close enough to go for a move, and he knows that he didn't nail the sector to the exact precision that he required. And unfortunately for Casabon, it doesn't look like it's going to be the position. Eamon Murphy also struggling with tyres, and Casabon's gone round right ahead of Joshua Rogers, and Casabon will drop his way now to 8th.
Well, that's a disaster for Casabon. It was looking unlikely anyway, but it's surely certain now. Jeffrey Rietbold is even going to fancy his chances. There's going to be a defence from Casabon. Rietbold will head to the outside, who'll get into the back of the Audi as well. Can't find his way through. Thibaut Casabon will be a disappointed man at the end of this.
Certainly so. Well, they head into the final sector for the final time in semi-final 2. And for RHG, a bit of disappointment that Thibaut Casabon's not going to be joining his teammates Yuri Toman and Erhan Yovsky moving through to the final here at the Hockenheim ring. But for Yuri Toman, it has been a perfect drive. Had to deal with a lot of pressure in the opening stages from Kevin Siggy, who was all over the rear end. Dealt with that brilliantly. And Yuri Toman will come through the final corner to take yet another victory in ESL R1. It's semi-final 2 going the way of the Czech driver. Across the line, half a second clear of Kevin Siggy. Eamon Murphy onto the podium as well. Moritz Lerner, Kaki Oliveira and Yuri Karsdorp look to secure themselves positions into the finals as well. But Yuri Toman took that pole position in a frantic qualifying session, it has to be said. Dealt with the drama well and takes victory again for RHG.